It's finally time. I have finally get hold of one. This is the Volvo EX30 single motor long range edition, and it's time for a full review. Welcome to It's Only Electric. Let's start with the exterior and some facts. So built on the new CEA platform from Geely. CEA stands for, I guess, Scalable Electric Architecture. I think so. And that's the premium platform from Geely, and apparently the platform that actually works and has a faster pace to the market, because this one was communicated and released after the EX90 and the Polestar 3, but still hits the market a lot quicker than the cars built on the SPA platform. This is currently one of the best platforms available on the market. Really scalable, packed with high technology. In this case, 4.2 meters in total length, weighs 1.8 tons, and has a wheelbase of 2.65 meters. Compared to the XC40, the total length is actually 17 centimeters shorter for the EX30, and the wheelbase is also shorter, 5 centimeters shorter, so 265 compared to 270. This will make a difference, especially on the interior, back seat, and the boot capacity. More about that soon. The long-range version is equipped with the bigger battery pack with a gross capacity of 69 kilowatt hours and a net capacity of 64. And it's a NMC battery pack, so you normally charge it to 80 or 90%. WLTP range of this version is 475 kilometers. If you get the four-wheel drive version with twin motors, you will get 450 kilometers instead. The entry-level car is running a LFP battery, a smaller battery pack with a lower WLTP range, but also a lot lower entry-level price. But in real life, I wonder how big the actual range difference is, since the LFP batteries always can be charged to 100%, and therefore the whole range is always available for practical and daily use, compared to the NMC battery packs where you only use 80% of the capacity almost every time. When it comes to charging, this is a big thing. The charge port is on the right side, the left side, the driver's side of the car, exactly positioned as on old Tesla models, which means that you perfectly fine can utilize the world's biggest charging network, Tesla superchargers. Really good. When it comes to charge speeds, DC charging, fast charging, has a top capacity of 150 kilowatts. I have seen charge curves past that a little bit. When it comes to home charging, the Ultra trim that this one has a really fast one, 22 kilowatts and 3-phase support, but that's extra. So as I mentioned earlier, this is the single motor version, meaning that the motor is placed here at the rear axle, so rear wheel drive only, with a motor delivering 272 horsepower and 340 newton meters of torque. Should be able to do 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in a staggering 5.3 seconds. Sounds a bit too good to be, but in this weather conditions, that will be hard. A top speed of 180 kilometers per hour. In this case, 19-inch wheels, standard wheels, equipped with Michelin X-Ice studless Nordic winter tires, non-staggered setup, 245/45 all around, despite being rear-wheel drive only. And to one of the best features of the EX30, the external design. This is such a iconic design. It is so Volvo-esque, and I really love it. It's so stylish, but yet simple. Really Scandinavian. I love the Tor's hammer headlight design. The big logo at the front also hides a integrated parking camera, a frontal view camera for the park assist system. Really nicely hidden inside that. Here at the sides, real air ventilations for increasing the flow into the wheel arches. So nice. Otherwise, a really simple and clean design from Volvo here. Another nice design feature is the iconic frameless side view mirrors here. And as you see, there is no internal part moving when you adjust the mirror. Actually, the whole body of the mirror moves when you adjust the angle of it. Really clever and nice looking feature. I don't know if it is better, but it looks a lot better. It looks a lot more cool, a heritage from the Polestar brand. That's also a part of Geely in this case. And that simple yet strong design elements from Volvo also goes to the rear end of the car. I mean, the iconic LEDs here at the top, also the angled bow. Very simple, very clear, a big Volvo logo here, an integrated opener for the boot, hidden in that bar at the top. But as you see, really clean and sophisticated look to the exterior of the whole EX30. For me, a really successful design package from Volvo. So, as I said, the hidden button for opening the powered liftgate. Powered liftgate is not standard, but is included in the Ultra trim package. So in total, 318 liters of storage boot capacity here at the back. A partial shelf divider, removable, a classic one, not my favorite, but you can remove it and stow it away underneath the second floor. So here you have a lot of extra storage, a lot of extra liters for storing cables and other cargo stuff, because it's big. And this one is actually removable. If you fold it, you can hide it underneath the second floor. So that's good. When it comes to the practicality, foldable seats split into two parts, so no midsection, 30 and 70, and also no ski latch for storing longer things in this case. So to be able to fold the seats, you actually go around through the rear doors, press the button here at the top, and fold it down, and it gets totally flat, as you see. So a fully flat surface really gives you a practical loading capacity. Let's have a quick look at the frunk. Struts keeping the hood up, that's really nice. And a dual lid opening, so you need to open this one for putting down your storage in here. And as you see, 7 liters. Maybe I can fit my phone into it too. Seems good. Let's move on to the interior and the back seat as a starter. As you see, this is not for me. I'm 6'4" or 193 centimeters tall. The front seat is now adjusted after my driving position, so I'm actually sitting behind myself. And this is not the optimal combination, and probably not the most normal combination either. But just so you know, compared to the XC40, it's a lot less space here. I was actually impressed by the rear space in the XC40. Compared to this one, it is a big difference. As you see, I have a hard time fitting here. My knees are clearly touching the front seat. So this is not how to sit when you have someone driving the car. And the seat seems to be very thick, taking up a lot of space in the cabin. I can barely squeeze my feet underneath the front seat. It goes in under, but it is a bit tight. So legroom, not that good. And when it comes to the angle, the seating angle and the height of the rear bench, it is low. It is low. I don't get that much of a thigh support at all in this case. And the next thing is headroom, and headroom is actually plentiful in this case. I have, let's see, almost one fist, or at least 3 or 4 fingers of extra space on top of my head. So no problem with the head space. A nice feature is the glass roof, and that part that gives me the extra headroom in this case. So if you want extra headroom, especially here at the rear, I would prefer and recommend you to go for the glass roof, and that part of the Ultra package. So when it comes to the materials and the comfort here at the back, there is nice materials. The interior color combination is, by the way, called Breeze, and looks really nice and uplifting colors. Lifts the cabin, makes it look more airy, especially together with the panoramic glass roof. A central armrest? Do we have a central armrest? No, there is no central armrest whatsoever. So nowhere to rest your arms here at the back. That's pretty sad, because at least some cup holders would have been great to have here at the rear. But I can simulate it and sit here and see how long I will manage to do that. The mid console is also very Spartan and consists of kind of a rack or something to put your phone in. I would never put my phone in here because when you accelerate, this will fly out. So this is probably not for storing phones. To USB-C ports, the actual window, power windows is controlled from this central spot. Nicely integrated actually, and I think it's a good thinking to have everything collected here at the center. Also, a thing that's part of the Ultra package is this trash bin. So if you don't go for the Ultra package, you won't get a trash bin with Elks on it. Not that big of a loss, if you ask me, because there's still good storage here. But I guess it's easier to empty the trash this way. Pockets with some extra storage. When it comes to the materials here at the doors, tinted windows, also extra. A lot of plastics, soft touch here at the top, hard plastic. This is some recycled plastic, reminds me of when I was a child. This looks like the Swedish floor mats we had in school, plastic mats, linoleum mats I think it's called. But I get the point with them, and it is part of a concept. So I get that, and I like it. Very nice feel to the lever here for opening the door. And it's metal, so good quality, good feel to it. A armrest, also cushioned. Underneath and between the armrest and the actual lever for opening the door is also hard plastics, recycled plastics in this case. Kind of a leatherette inlay here in the midsection of the door. A pocket for storing things like water bottles, etc. So all in all, a good back seat when it comes to look and feel and quality. When it comes to size and room here at the back, it's really obviously lacking legroom, room for your feet, and it's also probably only for 2 persons. It is a small car, so you need to understand the difference between the XC40 that also is kind of small, but this one is a lot smaller, so keep that in mind. It looks bigger on the outside than it actually is on the inside. So well in the front, let's talk about and start with the materials. And this is, I think, a great combination and a really fun design from Volvo here. There is a mix of a lot of recycled materials and shapes and forms. It's a kind of a multi-layered dashboard here. So if you start with the dashboard, most further in on top of the dashboard, there is an integrated soundbar paired with a subwoofer at the back. So a soundbar from Harman Kardon. This is the premium sound system included in the Ultra package. Gives you a really decent sound. There is no speakers at the back, so all the sound is actually coming from the soundbar, and it's directing the sound with software depending on the profile you use. You can, for instance, play sound at the rear, but only using the soundbar. It doesn't work that well. I mean, it redirects the sound, probably trying to flow over your head. But since my head is probably too high up, it still doesn't give me that kind of feeling that the sound is directed to the rear seat. But a good thinking here, and I like the new thinking. I like the integration of like consumer electronics. I mean, this is kind of the same soundbar you have in front of your TV paired with a subwoofer, and it actually brings out a really decent sound. So a good sound system given the setup and the price point of the car. Back to the dashboard, it's kind of a multi-layer dashboard with a lot of details. This is kind of a semi-soft touch materials here, a lot of recycled parts, the same plastic details as at the rear doors, patterned recycled plastic, integrated ambient lighting with some different themes, manual adjustable air ventilations. Looks like they are and have integrated ambient lighting, but they don't. It's just a design feature. It looks like glass, but it is kind of a semi-transparent plastics to give you kind of a luxurious or modern feeling at the same time. The center display is also the instrument cluster, works the same way as Tesla Model 3 and Tesla Model Y, for instance. The screen here at the middle is 12.3 inch. At the top, you have the actual driving aid functionality, or so-called the instrument cluster. The rest of the screen is the actual central or media screen. So everything paired here. There is no head-up display, no separate instrument cluster. This part here is actually the driver surveillance. So that's the IR camera checking the driver and see if the driver actually looks in the right direction and not at anything else. Also monitors you to see if you fall asleep. And that really works good. It's really bugging me sometimes, in a good way of course. It does it the right way. Let's continue with the interior materials and design. As you see here, this is a closed section, so there is no glove box at the right side, but there is a glove box here. And you open that one from the screen. Let's see if I can open it. Yeah. So it is a decent sized glove box, a lot smaller than normal glove box, but still some extra storage there. Underneath that part you have a Qi charger. You press down your phone. That's a good positioning of it. Easy to see and also to put into place. One Qi charger, and that dashboard, actually center console, continues all the way to this armrest, and there is some extra storage compartment underneath here. So if you open it, you actually have two USB-C ports for charging your phones. Let's continue up to the armrest here, the central compartment. It is not openable, but it hides a cup holder, or actually two cup holders, so we can utilize. And if you push it once, you get one cup holder. If you push it again, you close it completely. Nice feature, smart integration. And as in the back, the control of the power windows is also in the central compartment. So you have two controllers here and a button, like in the ID3 for instance, and ID4, the ID cars. You can press it to choose if you want to control the windows here at the front, or press it and control the windows at the back. So they are saving on the costs, decreasing the amount of buttons. I think it's not my favorite solution, but I mean, it is not that often that you open the rear windows, so I can live with that function. There's also two other haptic touch buttons here for unlocking and locking the cabin, the doors. So these are the only buttons available in the car. This is the only control compartment you have. So if you love buttons, this is not the car for you. You need to use the screen or the steering wheel. A really tidy and nice looking steering wheel. This feels premium, looks premium. It is a bit spaghetti-ish, so it's a bit too thin for my liking, but I get it. It's a small car. They want it to be airy and light, so I get the design. Flat at the top and at the bottom. A logo here at the center with haptic touch buttons here at the sides. Very easy to follow actually. You have the voice control, you have the volume, the media control, reverse and skip, etc. A view toggler, driver assist activation, speed limit change, etc. So you have all the necessary functionality and controls on top of the steering wheel. Not that easy to navigate in, but you get used to it, as in all other cars. Behind the steering wheel you have the two stalks. One is the drive mode selector. Really like the design of them. A really unique design, modern looking design, goes very well together with the rest of the interior of the car. Really new thinking here from Volvo, and I like that. So to the left you have the washer fluid and the window cleaner, and also the blinkers of course, and controlling the lights. To the right, as I said, the drive mode selector. And there is no start and stop button here in the car. You can't find it. What you do is you jump into the car, press the brake pedal, pull that one into drive, and then you're good to go. When you want to turn off the car or leave the car, you just open the door, it puts in the parking brake, turns off the car. So easy to use. This is how electric vehicles should be all the time. No need to hassle around pushing buttons, pulling levers, etc. So easy, so digital, so electric. This is the premium seats, and they are powered, fully powered, with a universal knob on the outer side of the seating position. So when you press it once, you adjust the seat position. As usual, When you press it again, you adjust the angle of the seating position. When you press it a third time, you actually control the lumbar, and the lumbar is a 2-axis lumbar, so it's fully electrically adjustable in two directions, X and Y axis, for a good support of your back. Otherwise, the seats are comfortable and more a blend between sporty and comfortable seats. So both seats here at the front are equipped with heating, no cooling in this case, and the base of the seat is fairly short, so it doesn't give me the right amount of thigh support. Let's look at the layout of the screen. So 12.3-inch screen, as I said earlier. At the top there is the so-called instrument cluster, where you see the gear you have the car in, the speed, the lane keep assist systems, etc. A very small icon for state of charge and remaining range. Here you also see the gear selector and some information regarding the driving, the average consumption, the lights, etc. So a full instrument cluster at the top. The mid section is the current media section, and you have a lower part, the control panel, with static functionalities and shortcuts for seat heating, ventilation, volume, and car settings. So the car settings is a separate menu, and this is kind of a shortcut or quick controls menu. Really convenient, because from here you can open and close the boot, for instance. You need to press it and adjust the side view mirrors, and some shortcuts regarding the lights, the exterior lighting, and on top of that, some very convenient features. For instance, you can activate and deactivate one pedal driving from here, the lane keep assist aid, and also the best function yet, the best shortcut ever, and that's the speed limit warnings. And as you know, this is by far one of Europe's most annoying feature ever created, and that one can actually be deactivated directly from that shortcut. So what you do, just press that and deactivate or activate that function. 2 clicks away all the time. Really nice. So back to the menus, you have the app drawer, and this is, as always, when it comes to Volvo nowadays, based on Android, or not based on Android. This is Android Automotive, and as you see here, you have the Play Store where you can install apps like YouTube, Spotify, etc. You have the phone app, you have built-in Google Maps, and on top of that, Google Assistant. So here we also find the 360 view cameras, and as you see, there is kind of a 360 view on top of the car here. You can also switch between the angles from side view, the both sides, frontal view, rear view, and also a big 3D view. Despite having a small screen, it's still decent resolution and graphics, and this is a good feature to have in this car. Otherwise, when it comes to the operating system, it works good. I would have wished for a bit of a bigger screen, vertically aligned, to get the information a bit more to the left and a bit of a bigger area. But I think this works really good. For me, it's easy to use, and I don't have any big complaints actually. The only thing I wish for is a head-up display. That would have been a perfect addition to this central instrument cluster. Finally, time for some driving, and look at some driving dynamics, the suspension, the different drive modes, if there is any drive modes, the regenerative braking, and the dynamics as such. Let's go. So Volvo is really trying to make the driving experience, the usability, as easy as possible for the end user. And that goes for everything, I would say, almost everything. So when you start a car, you just jump in, press the braking pedal, enter the drive mode, and drive away. No need to press a start or a stop button. No ignition, nothing like that. Just jump in and drive. That also goes for the settings in the car. You don't need to fiddle around with different drive modes. The car knows it best itself. So when you press the accelerator and you floor it, you get all that 272 horsepower immediately. There is no limitation as long as you have enough battery. And there is no dedicated eco mode in this case. And that means that it's all up to your right foot. So if you drive calm and controlled, that will also decrease your consumption. And since this is a rear-wheel drive car only, you will not drag around with a extra motor at the front, and that also minimizes the use of different drive modes, because usually electric cars have drive modes. For instance, when you put it into Eco, it turns off the front motor and only gets rear-wheel drive bias on motorways, for instance. When you have a rear-wheel drive car, you don't need to think about that. It's always driving on the rear wheels, and that's the best type of driving dynamics on highways for keeping the consumption as low as possible. So no drive modes whatsoever. Just jump in and drive. Very easy. So here for me, nothing to test, but I can say that there is plenty of power. I mean, first off, I'm happy that Volvo continues to make their cars rear-wheel drive from now on when it comes to electricity and electric drivetrains. This is, for me at least, very important. I really prefer rear-wheel drive when it comes to electric cars. That really adds to the driving dynamics, lowers the consumption, makes the balance, the weight balance of the car a lot better than compared to having the motor at the front. Because electric cars with motors at the front only tends to be very heavy at the front, because all the electronics, the heat pump, etc., everything is at the front. And then it's good to move that extra 30 or 40 kilograms of weight of that single drive unit to the rear end instead. Gives the car better dynamics and is also more efficient driving on highways. Now I'm actually driving on some gravel and on uneven surfaces, and the suspension is not active. No active dampers, just traditional steel coils and traditional dampers, meaning that there is no way for the car to compensate for the different road conditions. It's all up to the configuration of the suspension. And compared to other cars, this is a bit harsh of a ride. It is an SUV or crossover somehow in the middle, but on more harsh roads, you will feel that it is a bit stressed. It is a bit harsh, it is a bit bumpy and noisy on uneven surfaces. It drives well. It feels a bit more uptight, a bit more sporty compared to the XC40, for instance. The XC40 feels more heavy and more leaning side roll wise, softer suspension. This feels a lot sportier. It also feels a lot quicker, so sportier in every way, and in a good way, I must say. You feel that this car is smaller, but it is also tuned a way that gives you more of a driving pleasure somehow. So that's really fun. It's fun to drive, and you will never feel the lack of power. You have more than enough torque, 340 Newton meters of torque, 272 horsepower, 0 to 100 in 5.3 seconds. This is a quick car, even though it takes some time for the rear motor to pick up the pace when you floor it. Like a delay of half a second before it pushes in all the power. And yeah, you get used to that, but it is a bit slower, this drivetrain, than a couple of other cars I've tried out. And when it comes to regenerative braking, as this is a rear-wheel drive car only, you have a limited amount of regen. And there is actually one setting for it. Otherwise, there's nothing else to choose between. There's no paddle for adjusting regen, for instance. So back to Volvo's mindset, it should be easy for the end user, for the driver, to use the car. And they have managed to do that. And I understand and get that point. But when it comes to regen, I think it's a bit too low of a regen. So the recuperation, the regeneration of power when letting go of the braking of the accelerator is fairly weak. There is one single setting for the regenerative braking, and that's hidden under the settings menu and driving, and a section below called driving dynamics. Under that section there is something called one pedal driving. And for you guys that follows me and have been watching a couple of my videos, you know that I love one pedal driving. That's for me one of the single most important facts when it comes to electric cars. Every electric car should have the setting for one pedal driving. Very important. So now I have that one active, and we'll see if it takes me to a full stop, because the regen itself is really weak normally. So I will try that here at top of this hill. So now driving in 30, I will let go of the accelerator and see if it takes me to a full stop. 40, let go of the accelerator, slows down, not that aggressive. 20, 15, 5, stop. So it actually applies the brake at the end. But it gets more aggressive the slower you go. So in high speeds, it is really not that aggressive. It almost coasts at the beginning before applying all the regen. So we'll try to do that from 70. Let go of the accelerator and see how long it takes to stop. I have lifted my foot. So very gentle at the beginning, and it applies more and more regen the slower you go. And now almost a full stop, and it applies the brakes. So this means that it is not adaptive, and that it will be a bit hard to use and utilize in dense traffic, because of the regen is not linear. It's more aggressive towards the end. So in high speeds, it will take a lot of time to get to a full stop. But it is a fun car to drive, and I like the driving dynamics of it, and would be even more fun with a four-wheel drive setup. But as I said, the horsepower, the torque is more than enough for this setup, for such a small car as this. But I mean, the weight is 1.8 tons, so it's not that light car, but it doesn't feel heavy when you drive it. I think it feels fairly light compared to other cars. And there is no strange sounds from the suspension. The steering feels fairly direct. When it comes to the steering wheel, there is 3 different settings: soft, medium, and firm. And on soft, for me, it feels like I'm losing a bit of a control. Feels a bit spongy. So I prefer driving it on firm, because medium is a bit too close to the soft setting. So firm is the one I recommend, and the one I always use when I drive the car. And it doesn't feel stressed at all. And the body roll is not that much. So it feels like a firm drive. It feels obvious that this car is tuned towards being more sporty and more young in the setup than the XC40. So I will try to summarize my experience with the Volvo EX30. I have been driving it for a couple of days now and trying to learn and dissect all the details about the car. Now we have looked at the exterior, some specifications, and the driving dynamics, interior quality, space, boot capacity, practicality, etc. I mean, I've tried to understand the concepts of it. This is, at least in its entry level, a cheap alternative. I mean, it's not cheap, but currently available. There is not that much cheaper cars, fully electric, available on the market. And this is a really small car. And given that, I think the entry-level price of 429,000 Swedish crowns or 37,000 euros, it's attractive. But keep in mind that that price is for a car with the core level trim, that's the base trim. There's no heat pump, there's a smaller battery pack, LFP battery pack. with a range of 344 kilometers WLTP, I think, compared to this one with the big battery pack. A lot of equipment like the panoramic glass roof, a better sound system, powered lift gate, etc. So this one is really fully equipped. The only thing that's missing on this car is four-wheel drive or twin motor edition. The final price of this one is actually 589,000 Swedish crowns, or almost 50,000 euros. So you see the difference between almost 600,000 Swedish crowns and 429. So now it's really getting expensive. It's not cheap anymore. So 600,000 for such a small car is not a bargain, but it depends on what you're looking for. A premium car for its segment. It is the smallest segment, but the equipment, the quality, the design of the car is really matching the brand Volvo, and it really feels premium, and you feel the DNA of Volvo here, and you feel that this is a concept. All the materials, the recycled materials, the design of the cabin, really Scandinavian, but still yet some kind of exciting and good-looking car, and especially the exterior. I love the exterior. I love the Volvo DNA, the front lights, the rear design of the car. The whole package looks really good and attractive. So Volvo has really nailed it when it comes to the design and the feel of the car. And that also goes for the driving dynamics. It actually drives as it looks, because this car looks a bit sporty and modern, and that's also the feeling I get when I drive it. It is nippy, it is quick, but it is also firm. The suspension is more tuned to the sportier side, and it gives you nice control when driving it. But it's not the most comfortable car available on the market. So if you're looking for a car with a decent price, but with the exterior looks and the lifestyle that Volvo gives you, this may be a good alternative for you. But please keep in mind that this is a much smaller car than the XC40, and you will see that when looking at the boot capacity and especially the rear row. There's a lot less room at the back seat than in the XC40. So the XC40 cannot be replaced when it comes to interior space. But other practical aspects, like this can be equipped with a tow hitch with a full tow capacity of 1,600 kilograms. That's really practical. You still have foldable seats. You can add a roof rack with a capacity of 75 kilograms. So there's a lot of practical things going on anyway. If you don't have kids, a younger power couple, 2 persons, 2 grown-ups, this is probably the perfect package. Or if you have passed that stage with kids, they have moved out, this will also be a perfect fit for you. It's more about the DNA, the Volvo, the lifestyle. If you like that, this is perfect. And I really like the concept. This is one of my favorite small cars actually. And I think Volvo has, together with Geely, because this is Geely's platform, Geely has really helped Volvo in this case to take a giant leap when it comes to electric cars and electrification. Because the other cars, the XC40, is built on a combustion engine or a hybrid platform. This is the first fully electric platform that Volvo utilizes. And I hope that they will continue building more cars on the SEA platform. And I guess that's the case. Currently they are evolving cars, the EX30, EX90 on the SPA2 platform. That's Volvo's own platform. But I guess that will probably be the only car that's built on that platform. Because I think after that, they will use this platform for all other cars. Doesn't make sense to have another platform. I don't know. But I want to hear your thoughts about the EX30. Enough talking about platforms. What do you think about this car? Do you like it? Is this something for you? Do you think this will be a success from Volvo? Is it the right segment for cell volumes? Is the price reasonable? Please write in the comments below and let us have a good discussion. And as I always say, don't forget to subscribe, like, and engage. and most importantly, stay electric. Thank you for watching.